Hi, everyone. We're back for another Parent Pivot podcast. It is the Tuesday after Easter, after Holy Week. I am one of our hosts, Steve Cummings.
And I'm Julia Cummings.
Were you going to say something about?
I was just going to say, if you are a regular who watches us
on YouTube,
notice the clock here.
See that right there?
Never changes its time.
Why is that?
Because it's broken.
How did it break?
We need a new clock. Oh, I banged a chair against it and it fell down and
made a lot of noise.
Anyway,
we always start off a podcast and totally
whatever.
What's been going on in our life? This is literally what we do. We plug and go.
Yes.
Maybe that's why everybody enjoys us, because we just banter back and forth. But anyway, we hope you had a good
Easter Holy Week.
Yeah, good Holy Week. We went on a 48-hour silent retreat.
Yes, weekend before last.
On Palm Sunday weekend. We had never done that before, and some friends invited us. It was at a Catholic monastery in Coleman, Alabama. St. Bernard. They also have a prep school there. And we slept in separate bedrooms, and we couldn't talk to each other.
Nope. Ate meals together with a bunch of other people.
Did a lot of sign language.
Yeah.
In fact, Julia did this. And I had to wait a whole 24 hours to go. When we were finally able to talk, I go, sweetheart, what was this?
And anybody not watching can't see.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go to YouTube.
I was acting out. I'm going to go walk to the cemetery.
Yep.
So I was trying to get across that there were dead people and crosses.
Yeah. All I know is that Julie has a hard time sleeping, and in fact, maybe she was walking in her sleep, and again. And whatever, she just had a bad night's sleep. That's where my mind went.
Yeah, that wasn't the case. But
this has nothing to do with Parent Pivot Podcast. But anyway.
Yes, but welcome to the Parent Pivot Podcast.
Yeah, and you know what?
We will talk about significant, important things.
Yeah, and stuff. And so even as little Florence is peeking through the glass window at us right now while we're recording.
Yeah, our little granddaughter too.
Anyway, Steve and Julie, get with it. What are we talking about today on the Parent Pivot Podcast? And this is what Steve always turns to Julia. Sweetie, what are we talking about?
So we are heading toward wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Season.
Here we are, middle of April. It is wedding season. We get married in April.
We did get married in April.
Our anniversary's coming up.
And most people are, getting married May, June, July. August gets a little hot. But anyway, so we're heading into wedding season. And I had a friend inquire about just, hey, do a podcast on, the changes that are about to take place, or what it looks like when everybody's engaged. How am I supposed to be, and what am I supposed to be part of, and blah, 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 blah. There are a lot of unknowns.
A lot of expectations, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, a lot of hurt feelings.
Yes. So I want to dive into that a little bit.
Okay.
And I find that one of the biggest things, and I feel like we've talked about, I'm sure that in our 3 years, we've talked about this on some level before, of what it looks like to get along with the other in-laws during engagement. Because let's say I'm the mother of the bride. In my mind, this is my party. This is my party and of course, my daughter's wedding. And, when my daughter got married, I was very much, what do you want, sweetie? What do you want? And I was very, I wanted Jamie Lynn to have what she desired. Now, that's not true of everybody. A lot of moms and dads might say, well, this is our party that we're paying for. It's going to be our way, whether you like it or not. And I can't argue with that argument either. But again, like we talk about so often, it is how you say that.
Right.
It is how you come across.
Right.
It is, hey, you can say, hey, I know that there are things that you want, and I want you to have a great day. We're limited to this budget, or maybe you have an unlimited budget. And either way, I'm footing the bill for this. So I'm going to have a lot of say in it. I'm going to invite people, of course, that I want to have invited. Maybe I don't want an open bar. Maybe I do want an open bar. There are so many unknowns. So these are things, the first thing I would encourage you to do is sit down with your engaged child and their fiance, perhaps. And maybe in the initial conversation, you don't want the fiance there. I don't know. And be asking the question, what are your expectations with the wedding? Let's talk that through. Let's have this adult conversation, not where I'm overriding you or telling you how it's going to be, or, saying no to everything as it comes up. We are doing a preemptive conversation so that when we start doing planning and writing checks and buying things, that there are no surprises. So I would start there. Then what you've got is, let's say it's your son. Again, it's the bride's parents. So you as
we're speaking traditionally here. I know a lot. We're going to get to the point of the non-traditional things that are going on, but we're starting off with the traditional. Go ahead.
If it is your son getting married, it's a whole different ball of wax because you don't know what those other in-law parents are expecting. And that can be even more difficult, honestly, when it's your son. Because if you step in and they are true traditionalists, where this is our party or whatever, your job is the rehearsal dinner. And that's not something that the kids really get to talk about as much. This is your gift to them. Again, you can sit down with your own child and have a conversation about that party and what it looks like if that's what you're in charge of and all of that. What were you going to say, Hen? Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, dads behind the scenes have a lot to say about it too. Because I think a lot of times dads are like, oh my gosh, we can't afford that, or what's going on. And sometimes there's stress between father of the bride and mother of the bride, because sometimes mother of the bride wants to give the bride everything she wants. And the father of the bride's going, I don't think we can afford that.
Yeah, there's a movie about that.
There we go. Father of the bride. There we go. We'll put that in the show notes. Make sure you watch that. I think what I'm hearing is it's just be intentional about having the conversations early with all the parties involved. And no wrong answers. Take it all down. Hey, because sometimes the bride's family doesn't have resources.
Right.
In fact, when we did our only wedding that we were, mother and father of the bride, we did it in our backyard here. And it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And father of the bride was not employed.
Yeah. And luckily, we were able to pay bits and pieces along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So that we weren't paying some $5,000-$10,000 bill.
Right. And it helps when the ministry that your daughter goes on an 11-month mission trip that's just up the freeway from us says, sure, you can have 200 chairs, come up and get them.
And tables.
And tables. And just, it's like, great, got a truck. It's a hassle, but hey, free.
Yeah.
Or like I even remember the lights, because we did it, we did it at dusk and then it got dark. And a guy said, hey, I don't have any photos on my website to promote a wedding. Is it all right if we use photos from your wedding and I'll let you have all the lighting for like $100?
Yeah.
Well, what father of the bride who's unemployed during a pandemic is going, no, I don't think we'll do that. Of course. Yeah. But things like that kind of fell together. My whole point is that if you have the resources and your adult child's soon-to-be spouse, their family does not.
Right.
Work together without shame and guilt. And sometimes you might say, hey, we want to go ahead and pay for this and things like that, because that can be a big deal.
And if you follow what is in the KNOT, KNOT.
Is that knot.com?
I think so, yeah.
The Knot.
The Knot. And the protocols are very different than when we got married.
Oh my gosh.
And there is a lot more responsibility, according to the Knot, of what the groom's parents are supposed to pay. So,
was it the honeymoon?
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me?
And my thinking is the groom's responsible for the honeymoon. You guys got to save for that and figure that out yourselves. But I know a lot of parents who have gifted their kids that too.
And I'm not here to make you feel guilty, or if you can do that and you want to do that, great, go for it. But
because everybody's financial situation is different.
Yes.
It's in fact, in my experience, and forgive me if I'm offensive to anyone here, But the people who are on the spectrum of who have more money, what I have witnessed is wanting more control. And the people who have less money, there is sometimes the pleasing aspect that you were talking about of trying to please your child and give them everything they want. Or there's the guilt or the going in debt or things like that. So it's a tough situation. Like Steve said, we had 3 kids get married during the pandemic within 5 months of each other. That was a great year. It really was a fun year. But Steve was out of a job.
Yep.
And so we had to get very creative with JV and Lynn's wedding. And while people might think it's tacky to do a potluck type of thing.
She was actually suggesting that.
Yeah, I actually considered doing the potluck, but what I decided to do was I asked several people to make a cake or pie, and each table had a homemade cake or pie. So we didn't pay for some big grandiose cake. We had very personal homemade desserts that were beautifully made, who I asked people who I knew who would be good at this. And they sat they were part of the tablescape. It was beautiful. I think my daughter loved that. And then we had a taco cater because Jamie Lynn's favorite food is tacos.
Tacos. Yeah, she's got a she loves tacos.
We improvised a lot with what we could do. I think the day was super memorable for her because the most important thing was the people who were there, her spouse, the people in the wedding party, all of those things. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah. And I would say the overarching framework for this, as we talk about it, is still the same thing that we talk about every week on the Parent Pivot podcast. You know where I'm going with this. You are going to be attached to these in-laws for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Do you really want to start off the relationship being offensive and making it about money?
Or making it about you in some way.
Right. Yeah. I get how this is a one-time event. Okay. You want to look back on, but at the end of the day, it's about your adult kids and what they're happy with and what they'll go with. And realizing that my adult child is married into this family and we're going to have holidays and vacation times. Everything else is going to come up. And if you started off on the wrong foot with this goes back to the wedding when then everything else is going to be seen through that lens.
It's tainted.
Yeah. Why would you do that to yourself and to your future grandchildren and whatever? It's like, it's just not worth it.
No.
So do you want to be in a relationship or do you want to have control?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go into further just our own experience because, again, that was a big year for us. Our second oldest, Campbell, who got married in California, they had, it was the height of the pandemic during the lockdown.
May of 2020.
Yeah. So we flew out to California and they got married in a little condo with just family, and it was beautiful. And then a year later, they had the big hoopla. We did not help with that wedding really at all.
That first one or the second one?
Or the second one, really. I mean, it was, right. I think we helped get people out there.
We did our part as far as the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
And we had some friends because, again, during the middle of the pandemic, we're going to California. We don't have the resources to do it, but some really good friends. Shout out to you guys, Dave and Patty Brown. Woohoo! They hosted it at their house.
Yeah, they let us have it at their house, and that was wonderful. But then the other story is our youngest Jackson and his wife Liz. They, again, height of the pandemic, they had actually right before the pandemic hit, they had sent in their deposit for a place here in Georgia. With the pandemic happening, they lost their deposit. The place would not give them their deposit back. They said, you can get married, but there are all these rules, which was basically, it wasn't even just about the masks. It's like, you can't dance, you can't be near each other. The whole thing had to take place outside. There was just a lot. It was so they had to relinquish their deposit. So when they got out here, they had no place to get married. So we literally found the place for them to get married about 2 weeks before.
In fact, we even spent a week of stop looking and let's just pray about this.
Right. And the Lord provided this woman who had a heart for these pandemic brides and said, come and get married on our property for $500. So we ended up paying that, and we did help with more things. They because they lost essentially lost their wedding money.
Right. Yeah, they were done, and so we're like,
yeah. And then the other thing that we did, which was beautiful. I mean, again, they had a beautiful wedding. It was gorgeous in a gorgeous setting. Don't go there. And it was absolutely beautiful and so memorable, and just a blessing of a day. But another thing that we just kind of winged was flowers. We had nobody to do flowers. So the day before the wedding, I went over to Kroger, bought every white flower in the store, and then we all came back here, and every bridesmaid made her own bouquet, wrapped the same way. And it was beautiful. It was very memorable and beautiful.
Right. And I believe we hauled like chairs and everything across town because it was in ball ground, which if you're familiar with the Atlanta area, we live in the northeast sector of Atlanta. Yeah. This was in the northwest sector of Atlanta.
It was about an hour drive.
So we packed up trailers and trucks and vans and threw all our stuff in there. But yeah, it was awesome.
But my whole point is no matter what your situation, you need to be affable, bendable.
What'd you say?
Affable.
Affable?
Is that a big word?
How do you spell it?
AFFABLE.
What does that mean?
Just like likable, easy.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Affable. Steve learned a new word.
I'm learning new words today.
And be flexible. And again, you're working with people, not against them. These are not your enemies. These are people that you're working with and figuring it out together. Wedding time, engagement time can be high stress.
Oh, yeah.
High pressure.
Yep.
Especially when the bride and groom are also working, planning, having to do everything.
You've got dreams and expectations, and then there's reality.
Right. So there's a lot there going on, and mom and dad are feeling that too on both sides. This is a day I've always dreamed of. I always thought that this would happen, or that we could do this, or I always dreamed that my child be marrying somebody that I loved so much and I thought they were the greatest human being on earth. A lot of those things, you've got to come back down to reality and realize this may not be what you've always dreamed of.
I'm going to say have the bigger picture in mind and hold it loosely. Money has a weird way of splitting people up.
Yes.
And causing awkward moments and guilt and shame. Don't let that happen.
Yeah. Stay in relationship. Like I said, if you're lucky enough to have the time at this point, because I realize, again, wedding season's here. And so maybe you've been planning for 9 months and I'm a little too late.
You know what, Steve and Julie, our wedding is actually this Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But there still might be a preemptive conversation that you need to have about expectations and what that looks like. And maybe if your wedding is coming up and you haven't exactly been getting along with the in-laws, maybe this is a chance for you to bridge that. Say, hey, I'd love to take you guys out to dinner and just, bless you with a dinner out. And we just love to spend some time with you.
I want to challenge the fathers of the bride and the fathers of the groom out there that if you find yourself in a situation where we've described that maybe there's tension, hurt feelings, negative emotions going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you. Take the lead. Make contact with the other father and say, hey, can the four of us go to dinner? We just want to we want to build our relationship right from the beginning. And if you're both believers, pray over it and own what you need to own.
Mm.
You know, everybody's going to understand the whole resource thing, the dreams, the expectations, the dynamics that are going on. Every parent will understand that. So let's get it out of, it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Just address it and say, I'm so sorry if we've come across this way. That wasn't our intent. I think every parent wants to be there and have the most wonderful, spectacular wedding that you could possibly have.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, other things have come into play. Just own it, and you, it's not too late. You can restart things and be on the same page and go with it. Because, like I said earlier, you're going to be together for the rest of your lives.
You're going to be sharing grandchildren.
You're going to be sharing grandchildren, and you don't want to start off with this, and then it sits in your heart for years.
Yeah, yeah.
So husbands, fathers of the bride, fathers of the groom, I want to challenge you to do that if that's something going on.
I fully agree with that. Bless the other couple.
Yep.
Bless them and tell them that you want to spend time with them and get to know them better and whatever else. I do want to touch a little more on if your child is marrying someone that you're not completely excited about. I was going to use a very 70s, 80s term and call it stoked, that you're not stoked about.
We're baby boomers. Can you tell?
That you keep your mouth shut. I mean, we've talked about this so much. Your child, adult child, I need to put adult in there because they are an adult.
Yeah.
This is their choice and their decision.
Even if they're not acting like it.
Right. And even if you don't agree with it. I've seen a lot of people who didn't agree with who their kids married, and it was a good marriage. It was a positive marriage. It was a growing marriage. It was, when kids, even ones that where somebody was a believer and married an unbeliever. Now, it's not something I think is a great idea, but I've seen it work out great for different reasons. And so don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You still got to have the relationship. Your child is going to make their decision. They're never going to I shouldn't say never. They most likely are not going to break up with someone because you don't wholeheartedly approve. And the more disapproval, even more than faith, I hear people disapproving again because of money potential. This person doesn't know what they're going to be or do. Or they don't have a plan. They don't have a 401k. They aren't, on a trajectory to be super successful. And that's what I desire for, say, my daughter. These are mistakes made by parents.
You're speaking negativity over them.
Yeah.
Okay. Believe the best, even when you don't see it.
And you got to know that money is not the most important thing. It just isn't. Money is not what has held your marriage together or any other marriage together. It isn't money. It is the relationship. So,
there you go.
So be thankful for that and what is good about that. So I think that's really all I have to say.
Okay, good. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast. What came to my mind is I'm going to try to be more affable on future podcasts because that's a new word for me. I'm going to look it up after we get here and understand what affable means. Also, too, I want to add a little fun, a few ideas. I'm going to tell the story of one thing we did, and then I'm going to put in the show notes a link to the other one just to throw it out there. You know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
So when we did our rehearsal dinner here at our backyard, our 2 acres, Matt, our minister from our home church out in California, was doing the service. And after the rehearsal dinner, after we'd done after rehearsal, I said, "Hey, Matt, when you asked me that question, who gives this woman to this man?" I looked at him and I said, "I need you to hand me the mic." And he looked at me like, "Does Jamie Lynn know about this?" I said, "Yeah, it was her idea." He's like, "Okay." And we never said a word other than that. So we come down the steps, we walk across the grass, one of the longest, what do you call it? It's not a processional.
Yeah, it's processional.
It was the what was the song that was played? It was a long.
It was Elvis Presley's.
I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
Yes, but it wasn't his version.
Anyway, it took a long time. We finally get there. Matt asked the question, and I said, "Can I have the mic?" And everybody was standing up. Obviously, I said, "Have him sit down." And I proceeded to talk to Taylor, her soon-to-be husband, and right there in that moment. And I mentioned Taylor. I said, Jamie Lynn has been to 28 countries, 5 continents. And I went on and on and on. I go, you will not even have to turn on ESPN for her. And you do not have to teach her what a first down is, a slam dunk, or a hit and run. She will already know what that is, and she will turn it on before you. And I just went on and on. And I finally just stopped. I looked at him. I said, do you really understand what you're getting here today? We'd seen that on a YouTube thing. So, and then the other one's going to be a surprise for you. I'll put it down in the show notes. So click on that, watch that. Been still hoping that this video goes viral. But Jamie Lynn and I did a little something different for that father-daughter dance.
Yeah.
You'll get a kick out of it. Please watch it. Other than that, that's all we have. We're here in the middle of April. We're hopefully at the end of pollen season because we're done with the pollen.
Yeah.
And things, but we're ready for the spring. We're celebrating number 38 coming up soon.
Yeah.
And other than that, if you have any questions, email us at parentpivotpodcast@gmail.com. And then also we're on all the social
like
media.
us and share us.
Like us, share us. You know, someone's getting married saying, hey, I've listened to these 2 people. They're very affable. You would enjoy them. They have a podcast called the Parent Pivot Podcast. She's more funny and more when you want to listen to than he is. But share that with them. Like us, rate us, and all that, and direct message us. A lot of times we get content. Like, for example, this whole podcast was because one of our regular listeners.
Well, she's a friend that just asked me a question.
But she started off being a regular podcast listener and became a friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I do want to just end this on a note of
a note of affability.
No. Please enjoy this time.
Yes.
If you have an engaged child, just enjoy it.
Yes.
It's not going to happen again. And
we hope not.
Yeah, we hope not. And it is a special time for everyone. It should be enjoyed.
Yep.
Take the stress out of it. Take the out of it. And just laugh and have fun. Do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then come back next week on Tuesday when we post a new podcast of the Parent Pivot Podcast.
Bye.